Hi Sagittarius, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a general reading for November 2024. And in today's reading, we're going to be doing the Yellow Cardinal Cross. And it's a reading that I've done before if you've followed me on my channel. And if you're new to my channel, I want to say thank you for showing up and finding me. We are going to be a year old in this December. And if you have subscribed and you're returning, I also want to thank you for supporting me. So, the Yellow Cardinal Cross is also a reading that's included as a selection in about 6 or 7 personal readings that I have on offer for you if you're interested in getting a personal reading done. And I'll leave the link for that in my description box and also in my comment section, and that'll lead you to my website where I have a list of all my readings and explanations about it and how to sign up for them. And yeah, so let's look at what's going to be coming up with your reading right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by pulling a card for the issue that you're dealing with right now. It could be a decision, it could be a struggle, it could be a pattern that's showing up for you right now. And then I'm going to look for another card that's clarifying that issue or obscuring it, like blocking it, preventing it from happening. And then in part 3, right here on your right, I'm going to look at the conscious influence. So what are you aware of that's having an influence on this situation? You're very much aware of it consciously. And then on the other side, on your left-hand side, it's going to be the unconscious influence. And so this is actually the most important part, because whatever's sitting in your unconscious or your shadow is having the most impact and is driving this issue that you're having right here. And so in part 4, we're going to be doing some shadow work. And if you're unfamiliar with the word shadow work or shadow, I've left you a really good description. I left you a really good video in my description box below. And the video is all about facing your own shadow and how to do it, how to go about doing it. And it's called My Powerful 4-Step Guide to Shadow Work. And it's a video that I put together myself. And it's taken from my other channel called Carol Cares. And I've been on my own intensive healing shadow work journey for the last 7.5 years with my own trauma coach. And so it's just kind of a compilation of everything I've been learning along the way for you. And so remember that your shadow are all those things that you repress as a child or an adolescent, because maybe people told you things, emotions that you're not allowed to show, things about you, and you just pushed it all the way into your unconscious. You shoved it all away, but it's there for you to heal. And that's what this healing journey is all about, healing your stuff. And so in part 5, we're going to look at what's needed for resolution. So that'll be kind of an overall look from the tarot of what's needed for resolution in this situation. It's not going to be like some miracle drug that they're going to give you, or the tarot's going to give you, or I'm going to give you, because this is not what this is about. This is a process. But what will happen is when we get to part 6, and the guidance from the tarot is going to be very specific, and it's going to tell you, okay, this is what you need to do to start to really get at, what's blocking, what's preventing you from resolution with the situation that you're sitting in. And then what I will do, I will also suggest in there, if the topic of journaling comes up, I will also suggest some writing prompts for you. Also, I'm going to suggest some playlists from some other videos from Carol Cares, my other channel, and those are going to be specific to what you need to work on. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm going to start off with the Ehrenberg Tarot. It's a new deck that I acquired. And then we're going to use the Tarot Vintage to clarify it. So I'm going to ask the Tarot right now for one card for the issue that Sagittarius is dealing with right now in November. Whether it's a problem, struggle, pattern, decision. And you have the 5 of Swords in reverse. And then what it's obscuring, or maybe I need some clarification on this. So can you give me one card for that? You have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords. Two swords. Swords energy already. All right, so, and 3, let's have the conscious influence. What's Sagittarius aware of here consciously? This conscious influence for this issue that's coming up here. Six of Wands. The unconscious influence. Ooh, that one turned up. King of Swords. More sword energy. What's needed for resolution. One card. The Two of Pentacles. What is guidance from the tarot? One card, please. The Six of Cups. All right. So, I'll get some clarifiers, and these were all pre-shuffled before I came on. So, I'm going to ask for some clarifiers for these two cards. A couple clarifiers for these two cards right here. This issue. Page of Swords, and the King of Wands. And the conscious influence, the Six of Wands here. There's one, and there's two. Boy, your cards are coming out nicely. Five of Wands. It always helps to move the reading along. The Judgment card, interesting in reverse. Okay, so it's the second time that the Judgment card in reverse is coming up, because you have it right here underneath my Cardinal here, and I'm going to explain to you why that's there, but it's the Judgment in reverse. King of Swords here, which is your unconscious influence. A couple cards, please, for clarification. Okay, it's been twice. Okay, keep going. Couple cards. There's one. Another page, 2 pages now on the table, which are significant for your healing journey. So you have the Page of Pentacles first, right behind the King of Swords, and then you have the Knight of Pentacles. Page and a Knight. All right, and the Two of Pentacles here. Can I have 2 cards for that, please? 2 clarifiers for that. You have the King of Pentacles in reverse, behind the Two of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands in reverse. And the Six of Cups, final 2 cards. To clarify. 2 cards, please, for the Six of Cups. Another page, 3rd page. Wow. very much an inner child reading here. With the 3 pages on the table. All right, I think this one wanted to come out too. Well, yeah. Oops. Okay, so you have the Page of Cups in reverse. 2 of Pentacles in reverse. And the 6 of Pentacles in reverse. Advice from the Tarot. All right, let's begin. So this card over here underneath the Cardinal, it's in January 2024, I did my yearly readings, and they're all my description box if you're interested. And I pulled out 12 cards for each month, and 1 for each month for each sign. And so your November card that I pulled out is the Judgment card in reverse. And that's going to be your overriding energy for November. And for this reading here. So the Judgment card talks about this calling. It's in reverse. So there's this angel calling here, and these people are rising from their coffins. They're hearing this call. And so this signifies that there is some sort of a change, that you're hearing a call for a change. It's like this nudge to awake you from the universe, that there's something here that you need to look at. There's a change that needs to take place, and you're feeling it, but you're not willing to look at it. So it could be something that there's a fear in you of looking at it. There's you know, I don't got time to deal with this. Whatever it is, there's like, there's something inside that's going, you need to look at this. That's a call for you for a change. All right. And it's coming up again for you right here in the advice. Where did I see it? Yeah, over here. The conscious influence, it comes up again. So that's interesting that it came up, and that's your overriding energy. All right, so let's begin. What's going on here? What's the issue, problem, situation you're dealing with right now? Well, you have the 5 of Swords and the 2 of Swords that crosses over it. Now, what are swords? Because you have some swords here going on, especially in this. Well, you have a Page of Swords coming up. So we'll start to talk about what the pages are. The sword energy is our mental thoughts. These are the things that, how we can spin sometimes, and they're the thoughts we tell ourselves all the time. And in particular, the 5 of Swords is in reverse, but in an upright position, you see that this one hand is grabbing the other hand. And the 5 of Swords is, in the Rider-Waite deck, it's kind of like a sword battle that has gone on, and you have this one individual has this grimace and has won the fight, kind of, and then you see the victim in the background kind of holding her head like in a lot of shame. And so, and this card reveals like it's like somebody that has power over someone else. And I often call this my bullying card. And it's my card that represents shame in my deck, because it's that card of unworthiness of, maybe there is some sort of bullying that's taking place, or you've had bullying in the past, but there's this emotion of shame that's coming up for you. It's in reverse here, and everybody has shame on a continuum, but we're all not, it's not an emotion that people talk about. I'm feeling shameful today. Like, it's just not something we talk about, because it's a real shitty feeling, and it's something that's given to us. It's not something that we're born with. And when people feel shitty, when the bully feels shitty about themselves, and that's why they look for a victim that they can shame, because they want to get rid of their shame. And that's not how you get rid of shame, but that's how people do it, is they just give it to other people. And so this is coming up, but there's a reluctance here to looking at it, or a fear to looking at it, maybe a denial that there's shame here that you're feeling, unworthiness. And that tells me that you're not wanting to look at it. You have the 2 of Swords here. This individual right here has crossed these 2 swords. And it's interesting that they're crossing it over their face here. Normally they cross it over their heart, to close off their feelings. But you know, when you're feeling shameful, you cover your face. And so you're not willing to look at this. You have closed yourself off from your emotions. And so much so, especially this feeling of shame here. And usually this individual has a blindfold on because they're just not willing to look at it. And I mean, at least you're kind of peeking through here, you know. But yeah, there's this real reluctance on your part to even looking at this and dealing with it. And right behind it, it's very interesting, is a page. Now, you have 3 pages on the table. And I will say that you also, and so, well, first of all, my pages in my deck represent inner children. And mainstream psychology likes to say that you just have one inner child, but I know with my own healing journey I've been on, I know that there's more than one inner child in me. And so you can have more than one. And so there are 4 of them in the deck, and you have 3 of them. So you have an inner child of yours that is trying to get your attention. When a page card comes up, when an inner child card comes up, it tells me that there's some healing that needs to take place. And this particular page, in an upright position, is the page with the sword. And we said that the sword is our mental thoughts. The sword itself is your truth, is who you are, who your authentic self is. Believe it or not, this page, your inner child, at 4, 5, 6 years old, that's how old the pages are in my deck, knew who you were, knew why you came here. You know, they knew exactly who you were when you were younger. You knew who you were. But over time, people tell us, no, you're not like that. No, you're not allowed to cry. Put those emotions away. You're like this, you're like that. And so we just put on masks because we thought we were a certain person, and then we're told we're not. And this page is blocked right here. It's trying to get your attention because there's some truth here. You need to get to your truth. And in order to get to your truth, there's some healing that needs to be done. And with pages, it's all about grieving a lot. And you have shame behind this. And so there's some real grieving and grieving your shame because people told you who you were. And it's not true. People gave you this shame and told you that you weren't deserving or you were unworthy. And it's not true. And right behind this whole entire line is the King of Wands. The King is the ego self in my deck. It's the masculine side of us. And you have another king up here. Don't know if a queen has come up. No, it doesn't come up. So we all have a masculine side and we all have a feminine side. Doesn't matter what gender you are. Our masculine side is the ego self. And the ego self always keeps us up in our head with all of our thoughts that we tell ourselves, right? It does not want you to go into your body, to ground into your body. That's the feminine side to us. Those are things like accessing our intuition, our creativity, our authenticity, who we really are, and our emotions, right? And so it'll keep you up in your head because it thinks it's keeping you safe. And so this particular king, and I talked about this Ace of Wand. Sorry, no, that's coming up. That's up above. You have another ace up here. So I just finished saying that this Page of Sword knows who you are. And you know, our pages also know. I don't know if you got the Page of Wands. You got the Page of Pentacles. And you got the Page of... You didn't get the Page of Wands, but that's okay. Because you got the Ace of Wands right here. So this king right here will... Ego self will block you from getting in touch with anything that has to do with your authenticity, your creativity, the direction you want to go into, something you want to do. The ego self here is blocking you from getting in touch with these emotions right here. It's keeping you up in your head so you don't go in your body and feel, because the ego self is the most scared part that we have in our system. It dislikes emotions. In fact, it hates them. It really does. It's petrified of emotions. It doesn't want you to go there. And so that's where you're sitting right now. What's the conscious influence on this? Well, you start off with the Six of Wands as your main card. And the Six of Wands talks about, first of all, my sixes in my deck have a duality to them. And which means there's like two sides to them. So on the surface, this card looks like a victory card. And it's called the victory card. You have the victory wreath and the victory on his head. He's won some sort of a battle, celebrating his victory. But the other side to that is, what has he lost? What have you lost? And this is what this card means. It says, like, what have you lost? What is hidden here? We don't see it. We don't see what you've lost. There's something that you've lost here. And so there's some grief here that needs to be felt. Very interesting. I said you have 3 pages on the table. Not only do you have 3 pages, but you have this Six of Cups. And that's the Six of Cups is my inner child card, actually. And so you have four inner child cards on this table. And our inner children, in order to heal, they need to grieve. And so no surprise that consciously maybe you're aware that you need to grieve, because there's something here that you've lost. And right behind it is the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands is a battle of the egos here. And it talks about these individuals that are comparing their batons and their wands and saying mine's bigger than yours. And, it's they're not in conflict. Well, I mean, they are, but they're just, their egos are in conflict where they're comparing themselves. And this is really a card of unworthiness. Again, that's come up. So I think maybe you compare yourself to other people, but I think you're aware of, the shame cards come up here, this unworthiness card, and it's come up here in another card. So this card, this reading is already starting to come up where there's some grief coming up. There's some unworthiness coming up here. And then you have the Judgment card. And again, so it's in reverse. And I think it was in reverse at the beginning as well. And so there's this real nudge here for you for change. There's a real nudge from the universe here. Maybe you're feeling it. That you need to deal with, look at, heal this unworthiness that you have. This shame that you've been carrying around for a long time. And you have some inner children here that need healing, and they're trying to get your attention. In order to heal our inner children, because they hold big emotions. They hold the big emotions that we couldn't deal with when we were younger, and so they start to come up from our shadow. And we as an adult, we can handle these emotions now for them, though everybody's petrified of emotions. But those are the big emotions that they couldn't handle when they were younger. And so we do it for them now. And that's how we heal them, by grieving and feeling those big emotions like shame that they felt when they were younger. So let's look at what's coming up from your shadow that really is going to have the biggest impact on the shame right here that's coming up for you to heal. You have the King of Swords right at the front. It's the first card. Look at this individual. This is the ego self again. And we talked about, you already had it come out, like your king. You have a King of Wands, you have a King of Pentacles, you have the King of Swords. So when I talked about those two sides, the masculine and the feminine, and the ego self being the masculine side and keeping you up in your head, are mental thoughts. This is what it keeps you up in your head, spinning in your head so you don't go to your body. There's not one single feminine card here that's coming up. The queens are not here. The empress isn't here. The high priestess isn't here. The moon card isn't here. Those are all feminine cards. There's not one single feminine card on this table. And there always is. And this is a very much masculine driven reading, because it's about sword energy being up in your head, which, as I said, is your ego self keeping you up there. Because the last thing it wants you to do is go in your body and feel that unworthiness. And that's why you're feeling so blocked to feel that. And you don't want to touch this grief. If there's one emotion that, if I had to pick one emotion that the ego self hates and is petrified of, it's grief. It thinks that it's going to eat you alive if you grieve. And it's not true. Here's the King of Swords. This is the king of that wants to tell you that this whole thing about, like, it's the king that holds the sword of authenticity, and it's here to tell you that this whole thing about authenticity and what I'm telling you about authenticity and your truth is bullshit. It doesn't want you to get back to your truth. It does not want you to get into your body. But look what's here. My nose is really stuffed, I apologize. And look what's here in the middle of this shadow reading. It's the Page of Pentacles. Here's another inner child here. This is the inner child at 4, 5, 6 years old. Knew who they were, but they were grounded. This pentacle here is the body. They were grounded when they were younger. The pentacle is all about your self-worth. And here it is right here. Buried in your shadow here. Buried. Very much a calling for you to get in your body. And so that you can get in touch with that self-worth that your ego self is blocking. That's why you're so blocked. Your ego self is blocking you from going inwards. And then you have the Knight of Pentacles, another pentacle here. A pentacle, like I said, it's all about grounding, all about your body. And the Knight is an adolescent part of us. And we all have this part. This is the part that wants the freedom. You have this right at the end. And it's interesting. I'm wondering if you're someone that feels a lot of anxiety here, because when you have a king together with a knight, I look at that as anxiety here. So, because what happens is there's this part of you that's been fighting all your life to be free, to get in your body, to be free to ground and to feel grounded and to be able to feel those emotions. And it's right here, right in your shadow, buried in your shadow. And to be free to experience through, authentic relationships, and to be able to experience self-worth, what it means to feel worthy. And there's this part of you that's dying to come out and feel that worthiness, but it's all buried in your shadow right here, because there's this little page here that needs healing. And so what is the advice? Not the advice, but how are you going to resolve this? What's needed for resolution here? Well, the first thing that needed is, here's the Two of Pentacles card, where this individual is balancing, and the Rider-Waite deck, it's juggling, but this one's balancing these two pentacles on his nose, and he's becoming really distracted because he's spending a lot of time trying to balance. You know how you can get caught up in something, I'm trying to learn how to balance 2 coins on my nose. So it's an individual that's very much distracted and multitasking and keeping distracted. And that's what the ego does. The ego self keeps us all up in our head and distracts us and finds all these things for us to do to keep us busy. And so it sounds like you're a real busy person, doing this, doing that, and distracting yourself. And of course, here's the King of Pentacles right back here, right behind it, because there's not one part of your ego self that wants you to become undistracted. It'll keep you distracted. And that's why it's sitting right behind it. Here's the pentacle. This thing that I'm telling you about going into your body and feeling your emotions and feeling that shame. And he's like, that's bullshit. Don't go there. Don't you dare go there. That's dangerous. And that's what he's telling you. Grounding? No, don't ground. That's woo-woo stuff. There's no such thing as that. This is what the ego self will tell you. And, the ego self is the part of you that will click off this video, because it doesn't want to hear anything about grounding. It doesn't want to hear anything about feeling those emotions. It doesn't want to hear anything about, maybe you need to look at how you're distracting yourself, because that's what's making you distracted, is your ego self. And then the resolution ends with an Ace of Wands. It's an offer from the universe. It's a gift from the universe. And it's like, here you go. Here's a wand for you. It's in reverse. So there's either a fear or a resistance to taking it. So what is this offer here? Well, it's the offer of the wand. And the wand is, they're always struggling. They're always fighting to get somewhere, fighting for their purpose, fighting for who they really are. And it represents creativity and doing something purposeful for ourselves, taking our life in a new direction. And this is, and you had, yeah. And so the universe looks like there's an offer here on the table for you to take your life in a new direction. And you're not sure you want to take this. Interesting, because you're feeling the nudge. You're feeling the nudge to make a change in your life, to take your life into a different direction. And the resolution is, you need to take this. When an ace comes up, it's a gift. Here you go. It's an offer. And we're supposed to take it, right? This is like a new beginning for you. We're gonna look at the shame. Maybe we're gonna get into our body. We're gonna start to heal some of this unworthiness we have. But there's a resistance on your part to take it. So what does the universe have for you for some guidance? Where are we going to start with this? Well, you need to start. You have the Page of Cups, and then you have, this is your Six of Cups. This is usually a very, an exchange of cups here between an older child and a younger child on the Rider-Waite deck. It's, this young child that's smelling these flowers, becoming very present to the situation. Younger children are very, very present, very in their bodies. This is an invitation from the universe here to get in touch with that inner child of yours. You've got 3 of them on the table, plus this one. Very important for you to get in touch with your inner child. I'm going to give you some writing prompts on, and they're right here on the screen. I think it's very important that you start to learn how to journal and write. When I wanted to get in touch with my own inner children, and when I still do, I do a lot of journaling and I write to them. I write from their emotions. I write from what they're thinking. And so I'm going to give you some writing prompts for journaling on shame. And that's real. And once you start, if you use that as your first line when you journal, and you'll hear your inner children telling you why they feel so unworthy. You have a Page of Cups here. If I had to choose, and I don't normally say this unless the Page of Cups comes out, but if I had to choose the most important page that we need to pay attention to, that will really rule everything, that really wreaks havoc in our life, it's this Page of Cups. I call the Page of Cups my love seeker. It's that part of us, and everybody has this part, this little inner child, that is seeking love that they didn't get when we were younger. And it's so powerful in our system because it has love backing them up. And we know the power of love. And it'll spend their life, it'll show up in all our relationships. It doesn't matter if it's intimate or not. Relationships at work, relationships with our neighbors, relationships with our friends. It is the one that will seek love constantly, and it'll like manifest people in your life that are not good for you, that are toxic, and repeats these same patterns of people that aren't good for us. And maybe you're experiencing that, and you have a lot of unworthiness and shame here that needs to be healed. And this little particular page is going to feel a lot of that because it didn't get love. And so they're going to feel that. And so they're going to keep looking for that love everywhere because they feel so unworthy and they want to get it from somebody. And that's the one that is so difficult to heal. But they can be healed. They have to be heard. And you have to feel their pain. They're in a lot of pain. All of your inner children are in a lot of pain. They need to grieve. They need to grieve their losses. And right behind it, you have the Two of Pentacles again. And so in an upright position, we know that this juggler is very busy and very distracted and very ungrounded, right? And the universe says, well, as guidance here, we need to get grounded. We need to get less busy. Maybe you need to let some things go. But it's time here to start to focus on your inner journey and start to go inwards, because we did establish that it's very much masculine here, very much in your head, in your thoughts. And the last card of the reading is the Six of Cups in reverse. The Six of Cups, again, it's a 6. I don't know if we did have another 6 here. Yes, we did. 6 of Wands. Again, it's the duality aspect, right? So if you look at this card, it talks about this individual here who is balancing out the coins to these people. And if this individual says I'm worth 3 coins, then he's going to balance them out and he's going to give it to this individual because that's what they think they're worth. I'm worth 4 coins. Okay, I'll give you 4 coins. So it's that whole idea of giving and receiving and worth. You know, if you think that you're unworthy, you're going to receive and you're going to manifest unworthiness in your life. And that's in reverse here. And so that's very much, you know, I think you're unaware of the fact that this is what's happening with you. And that's exactly what I said about the Page of Cups here. The Page of Cups will continue to invite people in your life right now that are they're not good for you. And if you see that pattern in your life where these people are, what they'll do is they'll really accentuate and trigger your unworthiness. They will remind you of how unworthy you are. And that's this little love seeker that's replaying the patterns of their childhood until you heal them. And that's how you're going to heal your unworthiness. So there is grieving that needs to be done. There's some shame, a lot of shame here. So I'm going to give you a playlist on shame. I said I was going to give you some writing prompts for sure. I told you that was shame. That was on shame. So I gave you those earlier. And then you know, I could give you one on grounding. Then there's grief here, and there's journaling. And I said I'll give you journaling as well. There's also a playlist on grounding. Really, really good videos I did on grounding. And I take you into my backyard and I show you how to ground yourself. And because people don't know how to do that. But I would suggest you ground first and then you journal from the emotions that are coming up. So if you ground, people think like grounding is like really zen, right? I'm going to learn how to ground. And I'm still and I'm grounding. I'm focusing on my toes, my breath, and I teach you how to do that. And then these emotions start coming up. And people think they aren't doing it right because, you know, I'm supposed to feel zen here. That's not true. When you ground, that's when you feel stuff. So as soon as you start to cry or feel something coming up, well, it's like, well, then you go and you journal. You journal what you're feeling. Sometimes you'll hear messages. So, yeah, there's some grieving that needs to be done here. Some healing of these inner children. And so the Sagittarius, this is a fascinating reading for you. I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working on here. This is a very, very difficult journey. It's a process. Very difficult, but it's the most important one in your life. And so I'll talk to you in a couple weeks, and I want you to take care. Bye.